everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom. My name's Colwin and today we're doing a first for me. We're going to have an attempt at doing some German ring-turned animals. And I just printed off this little horse. This is a real traditional sort of form for this sort of project. And I've created from that a template. So we've gone down about 30% in size. And from that we've created 3 templates. I've got the bottom template, we've got the side template, and then I've got the top template, so including the ears and all those sorts of things. So we're going to have a look at how to do that. The way I've devised this with the templates, we're going to start on the front of the horse, so the side of the bowl blank here. Then we're going to do the underside, so the legs, and then we're going to go to the top of the horse. Okay, to start with, we're going to just tidy up this outside edge, take off all the wax and make sure it's dead round. So lathe speed is 0, turn the lathe on, and then lathe speed up, and this is quite a large bowl blank. It's actually 3 inches in thickness and 10 inches wide, so I don't want to go too fast too quick. So there we are, that's around about 700 revs. I'll skim the outside surface, so just using the bowl gouge really, just going to skim, handle nice and low, just take your time. Remember, this is not the place for a roughing gouge. This is not the place. Roughing gouge full name is a spindle roughing gouge, not intended for bowl blanks. So just gently skimming. Every skim we do here, we're going to get rounder and rounder. We'll stop the lathe in a minute, we'll just check. See where we are. Let's stop the lathe and have a check. There's a lot of shaping to do on this, so at this stage I'm not worried about any tearing or things like this. A little bit of wax left, so we've got one more skim to do, I reckon. There we are, let's stop and have a look at that. I think we should be about there. Yeah, that's all good. Like I said, it doesn't really doesn't matter at this stage to have these tears. If we want to correct that, we can really drop the handle down, do a skew cut and make it really smooth. But we've got a huge amount of shaping to do here, so most of this surface is going to disappear anyway. And my first job in a moment, once we've created a hole point for the chuck, is to work on this front template. Okay, so the first form that we're going to create in a moment is this front face. I want to get this right, so that'll position me then for the underside, so for the legs. And then, of course, once that's done, we can turn the thing over and do the top. But this is crucial to get this position right. So we're going to take away quite a large amount in a moment. That's the front face. The nose is there. We've got a little bit to take away here. That, like I said, that's going to position me for my legs on this side. So I'm just going to put a couple of marks. So let's give ourselves plenty of length here, so the foot is going to end here. You can see here that the bottom of the nose of the horse is here, so I'm just going to put a little mark there, and then I can cut away this waist area here to relieve this shape. So let's do that first. So, and then let's do one more little mark there. So that's the high spot basically. So I can now just pop the pencil here and give myself a radial line. Same thing here, just a little radial line, and that's my high spot. If I put our template back on now, you can see where I'm going with this. There we are. In fact, let's put one more mark on, which will be the top of this figure, and then we'll put one more radial line. So that basically everything above that line that I'm just creating now. Okay, let's start removing our first bit of waste, which is going to be this big area here. I need to get rid of all that so this template can start moving inward. So a couple of little cuts, and we're going to do this little bit at a time. Going to come from the other side just to remove some of this waste. So that is none of this that I'm removing now is going to be actually used, so that's the thickness of the project. There, let's just stop the lathe and just see where we are, what we've done there. So I've removed the first bulk of waste, then I've taken away the excess timber, so this timber that won't be used. If I hold the template up, you can see where we are. So we're already going in deep enough. I need to start creating this next form here, okay? And I've got a nice chamfer to do on this section. So if we look at the tip of the nose, that's about there. So let's put another radial line in. And then once all this is done, of course, we've done the shaping, both the front, the bottom and the top. That's when we go to the bands, when we cut them across their angles to get many horses. I'm guessing here I'm probably going to be getting 30 to 40 horses out of this one. It can then be carved or left as they are afterwards. Okay, so just a little bit more waste away before I start a little bit of finer shaping. So we're going to use a combination of tools, some traditional and some not so traditional, some scrapers, mixture of skews, all those sorts of things. So here's a rougher, EASYWOOD rougher, and I'm just going to go in nice and square with this one. Stop nice and early before I hit the bottom of the timber. There. Now we're going to come in at a very slight angle with the detail. And this is under the nose, so this is where the chin is. Now at this stage, there's a little bit of guesswork going on. Got an angle at the front, but once we've taken some of the bulk away, then we can start really defining all of these shapes. So a little bit of an angle. Now the bit I've just done there, I'm constantly looking at this template. So it's the front of the nose. There's an angle there I can see, look. Now we can come back at an angle as well. And then the top line here is this section. So we've got a little bit of work there, look. Let's come back at the angles. I think I'll go straight in with the rougher again. There we are. Let's go back to the detail. I'm going to create this other angle. I'm sure if you've made plenty of these, you won't need to follow a template. You can just do it from memory. And certainly watching people turn them in Germany, that's exactly what they do. Very skilled. There we are. I'm going to stop at that position. Let's have another look with our template. So there we are. So, sorry, wrong position. There we are. Yeah, a little bit further back. Certainly with this, with the top one. And we're getting there now. I think just probably a couple of mil just off of this area here, just so I can get that in. That will then allow the nose to creep further up and in as well. Yeah, now we're getting there. So what I'm going to do now is just soften a couple of these areas. Neck's good. We've got the right distance here. So I think, yeah, maybe just softening the nose a little bit. Okay, so now I think we're just going to soften a few areas. You see we've got quite a harsh line here and the nose of the horse doesn't want to be harsh. That will allow it just to creep into this area right down here. We're good when it comes to the neck. I've cut a little bit of the template away, but the template went up at an angle here. The legs are almost aligned now. If I tidy these areas up, I think it'll go back a little bit further and we'll be good. So softening. So front of the nose. Just give not round, but just softening. Think about the horse's nose. It's not angular at all, so we just soften that. And let's take away a little bit more of this surface. And I'm just going to soften it as it reaches the ear. There, and I think that's looking much better. Maybe a bit of a curve here. Just on the front of the hoof. That should allow that to go all the way into where we want it. There we are, happy with that. That's a good shape. That's our template aligned. And the front of the horse done, ready for shaping. Okay, so we've done the outside, now we're going to do the legs. So look, the next part of the template's here. I'm going to do those lines again, so a couple of radial lines. There's my first one. These, remember, these to start with, these are all going to be fairly rough. That's the next one. So we're removing this area here so this template can go in. So we're going to have a couple of feet facing forward. So I can go quite deep with this one. We're also going to create a little hole point here for the chuck. So in a moment we got something to grip whilst we reverse this over to the top of the horse. So a couple of little radial lines to put in first. So we know what we do. Once we've done that, make sure they go all the way around, so when we turn the lathe on we can see them. And then this is our waste area to remove. We've got to take this away. Let's start removing some of this waste. So I'm going to go straight in with a rougher. Just take a bit of a plunging cut. This is side grain, so it does cut quite well. But give plenty of room. So to start with, I'm just going down straight. We've got a taper to put on both of these feet. If I start straight, and this is, I've left this extra wide so we can get that taper going. Once we've done that, then it's easier to create the taper. This side here, again, that's going to be waste. That's going to be the back side of the horse. So let's take a little cut away from there. Not forgetting, we need to have some form of holding for the chuck. So we're going to do that in a minute. We're going to use C-jaws. There. Now I'm just going to stop the lathe. The template won't fit over this yet, but I'm just going to stop the lathe just to make sure I'm all on track. There we are. So you can see I've still got plenty of room there. I'll start creating the taper now. So the taper is going to mean that we'll be able to then fit this template down. You can see this taper in this way, and that likewise this taper in that way. So we've got to start putting those tapers in. The actual foot, or the bottom of the foot, you can see here, it's around about 6 mm, about 1/4 of an inch. So if I just put a little mark there, then we'll do the same on this one, about there. And this is, you know, this is, it's difficult as it gets. It's his guesswork a lot of this time. I'm not being overly precise. Those templates are helping me. They're guiding me. Little bit of a taper now. We will have to go deeper as well. And again, at the moment, I'm quite angular with all of these shapes. We will want to come away from that and give it some curvature in a moment. Just put my pencil mark in so I can see. So a little taper. And I'm going to do one more taper this side. This isn't quite as big a taper, and this is quite straight. There we are. We're going to stop. We're going to do another check. Now we're starting to get somewhere. So I think we just need to decrease some of this size. So I've got, this is too wide at the moment, so we've got to take some of that away. I'm going to take a little bit more of this away to help us get in. Another quick check. So now we're getting somewhere. So you can see, if I can get the pencil in there, you can see we've got, it's grounding out here a little bit. So we can take the thickness away, get a little bit of curvature in. The amount that I've got to go down to the bottom of these feet here means that I've still got more of this to take out as well. So a little bit more depth away also. So now moving over to the detail. So we're going to just soften the hooves. And we're going to do another check. So template. So now we're just going to check again. So pop the template on. We're now really starting to get there. You see now, I've only got, what's that, about 4 to 5 mil here to go. We're starting to pinch up a little bit here again. So I've got to remove a little bit more of this. But look, you can see, certainly in depth wise, that this is fine. By the time we get down to the bottom of these legs, that's nice and deep. Probably a little bit more out of here, but we're getting there. We just need to clear this little pinch point up and a little bit from the top of this area. So back to that. There we are, that's that template now bottoming out, so we're at the right depth. My only thing I have to do now is sort out a chuck holding position here. So I think I'm going to do a tenon, and we're going to use the C-jaws to grip onto that area. So now I've changed my mind on this one, because this bit of material that's left here, this central bit of timber, lends itself perfectly to the deep grip jaws, so this one here. So what I've done, I've opened to optimum, so full circle, and I've just measured the radius here, and I'm going to put that onto this point, because that'll be really, really good just to grip on it and give me maximum strength for reversing. So let's just make that measurement. So there's the radius of the internal grip here. If I just take this waist away, then we've got a good hold point that'd be really, really secure. So back with my, I'm going to go back with my rougher. Nice straight cut. There we are. That's going to give us a really, really nice secure grip. And that's the outside edge and the bottom of our horse all completed. You could, if you wanted to, now start sanding and get all this nice and clean, but maybe do some finishing cuts. I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm just going to go straight on and shape everything. Okay, so that's going to bed right onto the bottom of that grip. Look how secure that is. And it gives me good access with the chuck key as well. I don't have to go to a long chuck key or anything. There. Good. That's a really good secure grip there. And the other thing is, because I've done a little platform on the inside, so I'm actually, the jaws are stopping before the full depth of that internal cut. That means when I do finally part through, it's not going to hit the chuck. The tool isn't going to hit the chuck, so we should be pretty good there. I will want to clean up that inner edge when we finish, but we can now start working on the top of the horse. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to remove this bit of waste. This was the excess thickness. So if you remember, this is roughly where we are at the moment. So we've got the nose of the horse, we've got the ears that we're going to create, and then we can start running down the mane and to the back of the horse itself. So let's take away the waste. I'm just going to go with a regular bowl gouge for this, just to start with. We can start working on our first feature. If we present the template to where it should be, the top of the ear, so here, this area, this is going to be right on this position here. So I can start marking things. We're going to come around the back end of the horse down to the tail at that point. So if I show you the finished template, the finished horse, the bit that I've just marked is where we come around this corner here to drop down to the foot, which we've done around on the other side. So that's, if you can see that template there. If I turn him over, you can see where it's all gonna come to an end. That curve is just coming around. So we can start removing all of this waste here, this shape here. I'm gonna go straight in with a bowl gouge. I think let's take a little bit of waste away from here. I don't want to go too deep. Now the ear, not too deep again. Then we can come down the mane. Keep ourselves on track. Let's get the template up. So we've got the ear and the nose, so you can see a lot more to remove from this area. Let's mark it with a pencil. Okay, so this is the area that we need to remove more of. Look, so I'm just going to put a little pencil mark there and there. This is good for the minute. I just need to remove these touching areas, so that's where we're going to go. So now we're getting really close now. I would say probably another 4mm. So again, key areas, better depth away here. This area is just starting to bind up, so a little bit more away from that. But we're getting close. I can start blending in and just softening a few of these corners now. A little bit of blending in. I want those nice soft ears. Gonna get the finisher in here. Just to take a little bit of this area in. We want a nice soft curve at that point. Check our template again. Just a little bit of binding. Let's just get rid of that rubbish there. Then a little bit of binding just in this area. So just got to thin that down. So back with the, let's go with the rougher first, just on this bit. Then we'll go with the finisher just to clean up. Getting a little bit tight here, so we'll just take that away. So there we are. I'm really quite pleased with that. That's fitting quite snug. We're just going to bring the back end of the horse around, so down through the tail, so bring the back side around, so a nice little curve there. So where we are, where that line is, it's around about there at this point. So we're just going to bring this around. It's a fairly straight lead into the foot, which is just probably about ½ an inch down there anyway. So here we are, here's our finished line. So we just mark that with the template. And we're going to start bringing the shape around from here now. There is a point where this will release, so I'm quite aware of that. I'm going to start this cut, and then we're just going to change things around a little bit. I'm going to start holding this with some button jaws on the external so we can take this away safely. There we are. Now over to the button jaws, and then we can remove our center. So here we are, we've got the button jaws on. I'm just going to hold the outside in there nice and tight, clamp down. Now we don't want to take a big cut with this. This is just there while we take away this little centerpiece. So just making sure everything's nice and secure, which it is. And then we'll just skim away that last little bit. So I'm going to turn the lathe speed down, then back up again. I'm going to the detail tool here. So onto the detail tool, we're going to take little cuts. You'll start to hear when we're getting thin. Here we go. Okay, so now we've removed the core in the button jaws. I've just remounted this back on the very outside part of my C-jaws. They were the jaws that were the right size. So it's only being held on a parallel external edge there. So I'm just going to very gently just soften. This is the back side of the horse. So I'm just going to soften this over, blend it into the front face and what we've just done. So nice and gentle. Just going to use the rougher just to give myself a nice external convex curve. So remember, this is the back side of the horse. And then I use the side of the rougher just to blend in. And I think, to be honest, apart from maybe a little bit of sanding, which I've explained we're not going to do today, I think that's really it. Oh, there's a little bit of a dig in there. Let's just take that out. You know, alternatively, you could use a jam chuck for this bit. Works equally as well. For those C-jaws, we're just at hand, so why not? There we are. A little bit of sanding maybe. Now that looks like a horse if ever I've seen one. Okay, so our final job is the exciting job really. We're going to cut down to reveal the shape that we've just turned. Now all I'm going to do to start with is just to cut straight across. Then you're going to come around on increments cutting the various horses out. So here we go. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we've left with. Well, there we are, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. I've worked out that we've got about 36 horses from that one piece of ring turning. Now, before we cut it, it looked nothing like a group of horses, but look at it now. Really, really pleased with that. So, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget, if you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications button for the next time we do a Woodworking Wisdom. Until next time, everybody, bye-bye.